We're going to get our physical transformation expert up here. And I am so excited about Dr. Audra. And just, you know, what she represents, and I really am appreciative. We kind of met on a very interesting note. I met her in her studio while I was doing a photo shoot, and I wasn't lifting any weights. But we all kind of got together as business women, and that's how, and as soon as I met her, I was like, oh, I really have to get to know her. And then suddenly,
should I take my jacket off?
Yes! So she's a bodybuilder, and she also does competition bodybuilding and helps people to be a competitor. And pretty soon she's going to be helping me to be a bodybuilder. I got to tighten some of this up a little bit. But is there any kind of exercise you want us to do while we're standing?
So we can do one. I wanted to do a core movement that I think is good for, especially those people who may spend a lot. Anybody spend a lot of time in their cars driving? Anybody spend a lot of time at their desk working? Okay. So this would be good for you. We're going to actually sit down. We're going to sit down in our chairs. And we're going to engage our abdominals. And a lot of times we work out and we don't engage our abdominals properly. So we can even be doing movements like squats, or we could be doing deadlifts, or even curls, and we're not engaging our core, and we should, absolutely, because the core is central, literally central to the body, which means it's extremely important. It's where all the health stuff happens, you know, there in the middle, so we want to make sure our abdominals are strong. So what you're going to do, you're going to sit with your hips all the way to the back of the chair as far as you can get them, and then your back against the chair as far as you can get it, and then you're going to squeeze your belly button into your spine, and you're going to hold it.
Oh,
so
I feel that.
Squeezing it into your spine and holding it. That's the movement. So who's going to know you're doing that when you're sitting at your desk? Is it going to change the way you drive? Maybe. It's going to actually make it better. Race car drivers have to have strong core, right? So that's the movement. So you will hold it, I'd say about a minute, if you can hold it for an entire minute at a time, and then release it, and then go back and push your belly button into the spine. Can we time?
Yes.
Can we time for a minute? See who can hold it.
Wait, hold on, don't do that. Don't do that.
Anybody's ever tried to do a plank in here and
Whoa.
failed miserably? So this is a way to kind of do a plank without having to be in that position.
All right,
You ready? Time it. Okay. Squeeze in. And you still can take little breaths. Don't hold your breath for a second. But you're consciously pushing your belly button into your spine. And squeezing.
15 seconds.
15, come on, as long as you can. I want to see who's staying with me. And I can tell you're working. Because I can see it shaking slightly. That's when you know it's really working. When you're really pushing those abdominals into
30 seconds.
the wall.
Oh my God.
We're doing good. We can do it. If you stop, take a deep breath, and then push it right back in.
Wow, I can feel that all over.
Yeah. Push it and hold it. And that's just a minute. So we did that
45 seconds.
a couple times a day. Good. Keep pushing. Keep squeezing. And keep holding. So we can bring out that warrior presence we talked about. Keep pushing.
1 minute.
Ooh, great job.
Well, I felt that all over. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's give her a
So if you can do it for at least 3 minutes, like do it for 1 minute and then take a little break in between, maybe a 20-30 second break in between, and then do it for another minute. And then do that 3 times, but then maybe do it maybe in the afternoon and then maybe in the evening again. And make sure, what it'll also do is it'll also remind you when you're actually engaging your core in other types of movements, like bending over. Your core goes all the way around. So we're talking about, remember I said push your belly button into your spine. We're talking about that lower back that oftentimes get sore because we're not moving our bodies properly. We're not using all the muscles we're supposed to be using in that movement. So it'll help with some of that as well.
Awesome. So, it's time for us to talk about how to get started and how to find fitness if it's not already in our lives.
Yes.
I want to talk about what I do, but not now. At the end, I'll talk about that.
Okay. So, getting started. How many people have gotten started before? All right. How many people have gotten started and stopped, and started again and stopped and started? Right. That's a common pattern. Don't worry, you're not by yourself. Here's the key: don't stop. Right? It's real simple. When you get started, don't stop. Recognize that there's ebbs and flows, right? To everything that we do. You know, there's highs and there's lows. But the goal is to be consistent, to keep moving, to keep going, keep doing something. And so I always tell folks there's 3 things you need to remember. You need to set a goal for yourself. And we talked about goal setting already. And your goal, not the one somebody else has for you. You know, not the one that your friend's doing or your significant other. It's your goal. And that can mean lose 20 pounds. That can mean get down in 2 dress sizes. That can mean, you know, just feeling better when you're walking up the stairs. Because let's get real about functional fitness. You know, it's critical. That could mean getting your AC1, your numbers down, your cholesterol level down, your blood sugar down. Whatever that goal is, that thing that's going to drive you, no matter what. No matter if it's raining out, no matter if it's snowing, no matter if you just got your hair did, right? You know what I'm saying? This is real stuff. No matter what's going on with the kids, no matter what's going on at work, right? It's your goal and you have to stick with it. So setting a goal and then of course having a plan. And now what's the planning part? The planning part is scheduling your workouts as if they're meetings with your boss. And if you don't have a boss, it's with Oprah. Oprah call. With Oprah call, we drop everything, right?
Yep.
And we go. And so it's that kind of urgency with your scheduling of your workouts. Be realistic about the scheduling and the time, right? If you know that you have a job and you're the boss, and oftentimes the bosses are there late, right? If you know that's the case, then that might mean for you getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
To get your 20 minutes in because you don't have that much time. You know, so you have to be realistic about what it is that you can do to reach your goal. So having a plan, creating a schedule, not only around the workout, but also planning your meals. Because we feel ethically there.
Yes.
We might even love working out because it makes us feel good once we get into it. You know, we might have a hard time getting there, but once we get into it and we start feeling good, sometimes we can get that part down quickly. But then it's the diet part and planning the meals. So what I suggest around planning is you actually plan your meals. You see folks with those little containers, it's all on social media, the meal prep, meal planning kind of thing. How many of folks here cook for themselves or their families? Good. So we gotta eat, you know, it's what we eat that's important. So I recommend a tool called MyFitnessPal. We've talked about that before. MyFitnessPal is a free app. You use it? Yes, it's a wonderful tool. It's free. You can customize. And I sit with my folks and we customize calories and our macronutrients, so our carbs, our protein, and our fat. MyFitnessPal, as in friend.com. It's www.myfitnesspal. And so you can customize your macronutrients on there. And it'll help guide you, you know, to tell you, okay, you've had enough protein, you're done, or you didn't have enough protein. Because most women, you know, undereat their protein and overeat their carbs. So it allows you to be accountable and it keeps you on track with that. So planning your meals, cooking, it may mean 1 time a week, it may mean 2 times a week. Because if you're like me, you get bored, right? You get bored. And by Wednesday, I'm not eating the same stuff over and over again. And so I may cook my meals on Sunday, but then I'll go back again on Wednesday and I'll make meals for the rest of the week. And you put in your mind, because it starts in the mind with the belief, I eat what I prep and that's it.
Wow.
I eat what I prep, and that's it. So it doesn't matter what's going on in the office. It doesn't matter what's going on at the family function because you've already made a decision. I eat what I prep, and that's it. Okay?
You'll lose weight just by doing that.
Right? Seriously.
So with the meal planning, you always want to consider your portion sizes. For some people, they don't have time to eat. We don't have time to eat 6 meals a day. Right? They say there's no studies to prove that if you eat 6 meals, you'll lose weight as opposed to eating in 3 meals a day. But here's what it does do. Are you greedy like me? You like food? Mm-hmm. It keeps my appetite down. Mm-hmm. So if I eat 6 smaller meals, right, as opposed to 3 big meals, I never feel like I'm really hungry. And so psychologically, it helps me. But science says if you can only eat 3 and you get all of the nutrients in those 3, you can also lose weight if losing is your goal. I also want to acknowledge and recognize that some people's goal is to gain some, right? And so in doing that, you want to eat a little bit more. You want to make sure that your input for losing, you want to make sure that your input is lower than your output, right? And so you want to make sure calorie-wise that you're in a calorie deficit. That's the secret. It really is. So on those days like Wednesday, when we didn't go anywhere because we were stuck in the house, now, some of y'all might have braved it, but for most people who were stuck in the house, you're not doing a lot of movement. So don't have them snacks. I hope y'all ain't run to the grocery store to get the snack. That's not the time to be eating because your output is not there.
Right.
So you be realistic about it. There's something called carb cycling that a lot of people in fitness use, a lot of people who are training people to be fit use. And that is, again, making sure that your input, right, doesn't exceed your output. And so on days where you're doing a lot of working out, when I'm lifting heavy weights, carbs are my friend in those instances because I need the energy. And so I'm going to have carbs with my pre-workout meal. Pre-workout meal is critical. Carbohydrates. Quit burning carbohydrates. You want your sugars. You want not bad sugar, right? But you want your fruits. You want your half a banana, your apple. That's your time to eat it. And then you want, on the days where you're doing low to moderate exercise, you want to have a little bit of carbohydrates. So that's the carb cycle and understanding that. And whether you're doing it because you're competing in a fitness competition or if you're doing it for life, it works. All right, so carb cycling. So planning your meals, whether it's 3 meals a day, whether it's 6 meals a day, have it ready. Have it in a container. Go to the store, buy your snacks. Buy them. Don't get them out the machine. When you pick your food, when you design your plans, you get to decide what goes in it. You know how much fat is in it. You know what kind of butter you use. You know what kind of oil you use. You know how much salt, what kind of salt, because you prepared it. Right? When you go out to the store, they have 3 things that they want to make sure is in your food to keep you coming back. What are those 3 things?
Sugar, salt, and fat.
And fat, right. So the better it tastes, the more of that stuff it has in it. And you can do that. You can make your food taste good because I'm here to tell you I'm not eating dry chicken. I'm not eating plain rice. I'm not doing that. My grandmother's from Savannah, Georgia, who cooked for me and raised me. And, I'm used to food that tastes good. And so I'm able to take, all my spices and all my seasonings, and it's all in how I prepare the food. And so I'm grilling my chicken in a grill pan. Don't eat chicken anymore, but that's what you all would do. Grill your chicken in a grill pan. You would broil your fish in a broiler. You're not deep frying anything. We don't do that, right? You're not creaming over everything. Lathering in butter your vegetables. You're sautéing them. You're making sure they're al dente. And so that's the meal planning. Coming up with ideas before you go to the market and don't go hungry. Coming up with ideas of what you want to make. And the same tool I gave you all, the MyFitnessPal, they give you recipe suggestions.
Wow.
There's tons of social media that give that stuff out, that give suggestions around meal planning and preparation. So all the tools, when you're ready for them, I promise you they're right there in front of you.
Yeah, you just have to activate them. And I think, let me just interject here. A couple things that are at work. And one is, the first thing is keeping a promise to yourself.
Yes.
That's really what I ground that in. Like, I promised myself that I would do better. And that's one thing that we have to work on. I promised myself. So I want to keep the promise to myself not to eat things that are not good for me. For example, this morning, I knew what we were going to have with the hotel offers, which is Danishes and muffins. That's all I could order, but I had to eat at home because I know that that's not going to work for me.
Right.
I mean, I'd be like a basket case up there. I'd be like it just wouldn't sustain me. So I boiled a couple eggs, and I had some turkey bacon, and I had half a banana. And it's not to brag and boast, it's just to say I've gotten to the place where I know how my body functions, and if I don't do that, I'm not going to be at my optimal best.
There was also some planning around that too. So I know when I get here this morning, there's going to be these things here. Mm-hmm. How can I plan? How can I prepare for that? We know when we go to certain events and banquets and things like that, what types of foods and stuff that they're going to have. So how do I prepare for that? I know when I get there, they'll probably have, their typical, they usually have like a chicken something, right, or fish. They'll usually have like a rice pilaf. We know those events. Mm-hmm. And, they have dessert. Well, I might have the protein and the vegetables, and I'm going to just leave the rice there and not have the dessert. So you make up your mind before you even get to that point. That's part of the planning. That's part of the planning the meals, and that's part of planning the exercise. Like, I'm going to make this workout at a time that I know I'm going to get it done. Mm-hmm. And maybe an hour is not realistic for you. Maybe you need just 20 minutes. So those are the three things in terms of how to get started. The setting a goal, to the having a plan, and the third thing is the accountability partner. So somebody who can help. Yeah, somebody who can help keep you accountable to your goal. Yes. Somebody who's going to be your biggest cheerleader and supporter around whatever that fitness thing is you're working toward. They may be somebody who work out with you, right? It could be. It may not be. It may be a social media group. We don't give social media enough credit. Right. Things. There's tools there. There's all kinds of groups where people are doing the same thing or trying to achieve the same thing that you are. There's women in this room who are trying to achieve the same thing you are, and so they're willing to listen to what you have to say, because they want you to listen to what they
and be supportive. Another thing that I do is I always carry a snack. Always, without fail. I always bring something that I can eat, because if I get so hungry, I'll reach for anything. But if I have it in my bag, then I know I'll behave. So that's another thing. We're talking about getting started, and most of us have started. But I think what I really want to focus on now is to find your fitness. What is it that works for you? Because, like you said, you get a buddy, but the person that you run with may not like running. The person that you run your life with may not like running. Your mate or your spouse or your best friend may not like what you like, because they're just not wired that way.
Stay in the course. So stay in the course. There's a few different things that you must consider. So again, the time is a factor. You have two things that get in the way of folks not staying the course, and it's usually either time or resources. And so your resources could be, your money. It could be, having a gym membership. It could be having a trainer. Whatever those things that could be getting in your way. I'm curious. What are some of the things that have gotten in your way? Time. So let me address that first. So with time, I did mention sometimes it might be a little bit of time. 20 minutes is enough time to get a really good. Y'all saw what we did with just 1 minute? 20 minutes is a substantial amount of time, and you can get a lot done fitness-wise. You can save on time by not traveling if you can create an in-home space, and you don't need a lot to do that. I would even break it down to you and let you know, like 10, 15 pound dumbbells, a pair of 10 pounds, a pair of 15 pounds, a stability ball. If you have a bench, a towel or mat to put on the floor, like you can get a full body workout with very little. Okay, and so you set up your in-home space, and you don't need a lot of space. I've trained people in a space, this big on an indoor porch. So you don't need a lot of space. And you can follow a video. There's tons of them out there. You can follow people like me who give out tips and suggestions around movements and stuff to do. And 20 minutes. You get up, you do your 20 minutes, you shower, you move on. So you save on time by creating an in-home space. You save on time by going to the gym and doing exactly what you need to do, right? And get out.